So fish finders would start when I first got home from playing professional baseball. Like yourself, I grew up in an area, I grew up in Brooklyn, had a lot of friends, but a lot of people didn't fish. So when I left New York and went to college, went to play professional baseball, and I came back, I really didn't have a circle of people to fish with. Social media was as popular as it was now, but I really didn't have the following and associated friends that I have now on social media. So I wanted to start a group, and that's how Fish Finders was kind of born. Where I just created the Fish Finder brand, and it brought like-minded individuals together. Initially, something that was kind of centered around get interest of minorities fishing, but it grew to more of a diaspora of individuals, and it's not specified to any specific race, creed, or anything like that. We want to bring everybody together. That's what we're doing April 30th when you're coming out with your.
Oh yeah.
I think it's like 35 kids coming out of Montauk. It's gonna be pretty awesome.
Awesome. And how did you start?
So I actually started togging probably younger than you. My dad was a huge tog fisherman. We used to go fishing off the Marine Parkway Bridge on Saturdays and Sundays, fight to get near the pylons, and use these crazy setups where you're dropping down 3 stories to fish 20 feet of water on the bridge.
Wow.
With old school 5-6 ounce lead and your store-bought rigs and with fiddler crabs. And that's how I started black fishing, and it kind of developed into what I do now with jigging and the more expensive stuff like pro toggers and stuff like that.
And how did you become a Century Pro staffer and with Bandsaw? How did that happen?
So everyone that I have partnerships with is just by association. I not only just fish their brands, but I also become friends. I'm very good friends with Craig. I'm very good friends with Ryan. That's all. I really believe in working with people that are friends of mine, and I support individuals who support me. I won't use a brand to be associated with a brand. There's not a legit, sincere friendship there.
That's awesome. And you can check Fish Finders out on Instagram.
Yes.
Instagram. You can also check them
on Instagram.
You can also check them out. There's the logo.
Everything we wear is Fish Finders. Hats, shirts, everything.
You can check him out. Also at the rail on the water trip. He was on the Island Current, right? Island Current. So
we do a plethora of trips all year long. Again, you're coming on trips. So I'm gonna have reach out to me and we'll get you guys situated.
Awesome. Thank you for your time, Garrett. And from Century and Khoa, thanks for taking your time. I know you guys are busy here at the Century booth. A couple quick questions. How you started fishing. A couple of sheep's head questions.
All right, cool. Sounds good to me. What do you want to hear first?
All right. So how did you start fishing?
Start fishing. So I'm originally from Florida, Orlando. My backwater has always been Sebastian Inlet. So that's kind of like I was already kind of raised up in that good water, snookzillas, big bulls, tarpon, Goliaths, all that. So I grew up fishing with my dad there. Garrett's trying to jump into my interview. He already had his already. But all right, so those are my backwaters as a kid, 5, 6 years old. Just about the same age as you when I started fishing. And then from then on, just me and my dad, and we grew all the way up to here, and then I moved up here, and then the fishing passion just took off.
Wow, this is crazy. Being from Florida, moving up with Northeast is something incredible. And how did you become a Century Pro staff?
Century Pro staff. Well, officially, I originally started fishing with my buddy Chris Buckner on the Rockfish Marty. We're going to try to get you on his boat this year.
Awesome.
But yeah, so when I first started fishing with him, I jumped on his boat. No, I had other rods. We're not going to name those. But then on his boat, it's all Centuries. So I figured let me use one of his and see how it feels. The first day I picked up a 7-foot weapon.
Oh, wow.
And that ended it. That never turned back from then. The way with Century for us is we try to put the rod in your hand. We don't try to sell you the rod. We want you to hold it. We want you to put the bend in it, and then we want you to feel it. And that's usually how we sell the rod.
Awesome. That's awesome. And tell me a little bit. I know you're a big sheep's head guy. Everybody in the Fisherman magazine, everybody's talking about you. Khoa is the sheep's head NJ legend. So how did you start sheep's head fishing?
I mean, I wouldn't say I'm the NJ Sheepshead legend. I'm not the original shepherd. All right, the original shepherd, I'm gonna have to give him his respect, is Captain Dan Schaefer from Insomniac Fishing.
Schaefer, yeah.
He's the one. He is pretty much my mentor. So if you ever see me and you ask me about Sheepshead, every time I do a seminar, every time I talk to somebody, I always give Captain Dan credit because he literally taught me almost, I would say 85-90% of everything I learned. And then the other 10% I learned as I learned to fish the fishery over. So I started fishing with Captain Dan in 2015. So that's when I started fishing with Captain Dan. Went out, he taught me things, I learned things, he taught me things that I never knew. Like I fished sheepshead in Florida as a kid, but you get the little 1 to 2 pounders, right? When you get up to Florida, now we're talking, and if we come out back to New Jersey, we're talking 8, 10, 12, 14 pound fish. You know, that was our thing.
Yeah, and I saw sheepshead used to be a big, that's why they call it Sheepshead Bay, right?
That's correct.
And I think the world record was caught in NJ, right?
Not the world record, the state record. The state record in New Jersey is 19.3 pounds caught in Longport, New Jersey.
So big sheepshead here.
Yeah, definitely. We have big sheepshead here. We had a good friend last year, Jesse, weighed in at 17.3, and he safely released her. So she's out there. She's going to grow and potentially be a state record one day.
Wow, that's awesome. You know, if you well, where can the viewers follow you?
I mean, if they're already listening to our channel, that means they already knew that you did a podcast with us
Tide
Chasers podcast. So make sure you follow us on Tide Chasers podcast. Check out Pedro's episodes; they're very interesting, and we laugh all day long. So just make sure you guys get an opportunity there. Besides that, anything else you want to talk about, sir?
No, not really. Just thank you for having you. Thanks for your time, Khoa, and enjoy the rest of the show. All right, everybody, here at the On the Water booth with Jimmy P. Jimmy, thanks for taking a little time. You know, we did the interview last year. Yeah. Great time. I'm gonna ask you a couple questions. How did you become a big striper angler?
It's a tough question. So I started out, it took me a while to catch my first striper because I finally caught one on a party boat, and then it took me another year to finally get one from the surf, and just by going as much as I could, you know, trying to remember, you know, take a log of the best times to fish, when I was successful, when I wasn't successful, and just kind of narrowing down when I would catch the bigger ones as opposed to the smaller ones, and paying attention to when I would go. Fishing at night helps a lot too.
Fishing at night.
So that was a big step.
What tips would you give to a new angler for striper fishing?
Definitely keep a log. I know everybody always says keep a log, but it does help because it helps you rule out. You know, everybody's time is limited. None of us can fish as much as we like to fish. So making sure you make the most of those times by learning everything you can while you're out there. So.
And a new series on the Water Media on the YouTube channel is At the Rail. How did you become a party boat angler?
Oh man, I still don't have a boat, so that's why surf fishing and party boat fishing were always my two main types of fishing that I did. So party boat fishing was always, it's something people don't give it enough love to. I love party boat fishing. It's a great culture there, and it isn't just, you know, go out there and rent a rod and tangles. No, guys get really dialed in. They have high-end gear, and it's an art form. And it was great to get to showcase that to a wider audience through our YouTube channel.
That's awesome. And a little quick question to you. Which is your favorite party boat?
Oh man, I can't answer that. I have different favorite party boats for different fish.
Everybody doesn't have one.
They're all good. Like if you want a fluke trip, you know, there's great ones in Massachusetts. The Helen H. We had a great time on the Francis Fleet. Tuna boats. There's a lot of good ones down here in Jersey. There's great ones. The Helen H. is another good one. I couldn't narrow it down to just one, but they're all good.
And tell me a little bit about Striper Cup. What is Striper Cup?
So Striper Cup is it's really evolved over the years. I guess it's about 15 years old now, and it started out where you would weigh in the fish. Now it's all catch and release, and it's more community based. So it's more about bringing the striper fishing community together and catching and releasing fish, giving away prizes for, and just kind of celebrating our love for striped bass.
That's awesome. And where can the viewers find you on social media?
So On the Water Magazine is you can find us on Instagram there. On the Water Media is our YouTube channel, and you can pretty much find all our stuff there.
On the Water Media is an awesome show. Great art and books, right? Magazines are the best. They give you awesome tips. Jimmy writes up awesome articles. So thanks for your time, Jimmy.
Thank you. It was the nicest thing anybody said to me all week. So
enjoy the show, and Coat Cheese, Mark Garry. And thanks for being here. You were here last year. We did a little interview last year. I'm gonna ask you a couple questions on how you became a pro staff with Tony Maggio.
Okay.
How did you become a Tony Maggio?
Back in the day when I met Tony Sr., all right, he's the original guy who basically made the spoon. I reached out to him to buy some stuff because I knew he was catching big fish. And then Senior asked me to kind of pro staff for him and start promoting stuff. And pro staff means professional. It's not professional, it's promotion. So I'm promoting the Maggio spoons. What we start doing, Tex and I, we started to catch massive fish. It really came out. I started using his product and we started catching really big fish. And what did we do? We promoted that to the Maggio people out there. And it started to happen that Maggio products started to get. It always was big in the business, the Maggio brand, and what we did was we tried to promote it, showed us how, we tried to show people how we caught fish using the products, and that's a whole system. It's the rod, the reel, the wire. It's not just about the spoon, it's the whole system, and we promoted that for them. So the spoon, now we're using Mojos, and we're using great spoons.
Awesome. And everybody knows Kid Coat Cheese Outdoors. How did Kid Coat Cheese Outdoors start in the first place?
Back in the day, now everybody follows the channel. They know that I'm retired police. I was a policeman and a detective in narcotics at the time, and I didn't want to have my name out there, right? So always, since I was a kid, probably your age, I was making videos. Back old school, you know, with 8mm stuff, and I always started doing it. And everybody had a lot of fun watching it. So I just started doing it in 2007. I started the YouTube stuff, and I got huge feedback from people out there because we're doing a lot of how-tos. I'm a licensed captain. I fish, and I try to show people how I catch fish by looking for themselves how we're catching fish, right? We're not faking it, we're catching the fish. We're using the techniques that I've learned my whole life, and we try to show it to people, for moms and dads to take their kids out fishing, and that's what happens. And the reason I used Kid Coat Cheese, it was like kind of an undercover name. I didn't want to put Mark Garry out there. Now I do because I'm retired, but back in the day, I was active in the police department doing undercover stuff, and then I started to become a homicide guy. I didn't want to have my name out there. Now I'm retired from the police department, and now it's out there, Mark Garry, Kid Coat Cheese, so that's how that worked out.
Awesome. Thanks for your time, Mark Garry.
Of course, Pedro. Good to see you, man. And always follow Pedro, all right?
Yeah.
He's my man, Tsunami Tackle right
Follow
there.
Kid Coat Cheese Outdoors, and take care.
All right, buddy, take care. Thanks.
All right, boys and girls, we're here at the last day of the Edison Convention. I'm with Alberto.
The crazy one.
Crazy Alberto.
He's actually very crazy too, you know.
Gonna ask him a couple questions. Thanks.
Oh, my pleasure. Absolutely my pleasure.
Alberto, I'm gonna ask you a couple questions.
Sure.
On how you started fishing. How did you start fishing?
Oh my God. I started fishing the same way you did. You have that passion. I wanted to catch a lot of fish. You know, first you want to know about the outdoors. You want to catch fish. Now you want to catch bigger fish. The addiction started getting crazier, and I put my life into just fishing.
Really? Yeah. That's awesome. And I was at your seminar yesterday, and it was an awesome seminar on striped bass. And how did you start striped bass fishing? Everybody knows you for a big cow hunter. How did you start cow hunting?
My passion is targeting big fish, right?
Oh, yeah.
And a striped bass is that nostalgic, gorgeous, wonderful, and it signifies Northeast fishing.
Oh, yeah.
And I caught the very first one many years ago, and then I wanted to catch more. And I became very intrigued about where they are, how their habitats, their migration. I had to learn everything about it because they're just beautiful fish. And I am glad that they made a comeback after the moratorium.
Oh yeah, I mean, the striped bass fishing, the striped bass population was down, and they started coming back. You can check them out at Tactical Anglers. Where can they find you on social media?
Just go do a search, Crazy Alberto Knie, that's Knie, and you can find me. But honestly, let me tell you guys, he's the real deal. No, seriously, and I really appreciate what you are.
Thank you.
You mean, I'm just glad the fishing future is good. I'm just glad fishing future is looking great because people like you.
And what is Tactical Anglers? You can see right there on the shirt. What is Tactical Anglers?
Tactical Angler is a company of fishing products, the TA power clips.
Oh, yeah.
It's designed by hardcore fishermen and for serious fishermen.
Serious fishermen. I use, the darters and the pencil offers their awesome products lined through. So you can go check them out, Tactical Anglers, and also on Instagram, right? Instagram.
Yes, sir.
So thanks for your time, Alberto.
Thank you. I appreciate
Enjoy
it
the
so
rest of
much.
the day.
You too.